Yeah, we raised this issue of result-based approaches because it's an issue which has been discovered in all our member countries, and also at the international level it's becoming much more important in recent years. And we ask ourselves what results orientation really means in terms of implementation. Then we started to get an overview of the different approaches of our member states. There were very interesting contributions given by DFID, for example, also by our Spanish colleagues, by Luxembourg, by the Netherlands, and also from the German part. And we discovered that we have yet a lot of experiences in applying results-based approaches, but maybe not in this very rigid orientation of producing first the results and getting the money later, but as an approach which has been integrated in different programs. Let's say, for example, in health and in education, but also in decentralization programs, in water programs, in energizing in programs of energy. We have always some mechanisms of results orientation. What we try to do is to improve this in the context of programs, and to have a more broader view on results orientation, because we think that it's important to know much more clearly which kind of results can be achieved in a certain context. Results orientation is more the overarching perspective, and results orientation is always important for all our interventions, because we wouldn't do an intervention without getting any results. Therefore, a results orientation is implicitly always being taken into account. But when it comes to results, it's much more restrictive. You must really define which kind of results can be achieved in a certain context, and this depends on the capacity of the institutions with whom we are working, but it depends also on the leadership, because you need some kind of political support to reach these results. And it depends, and that maybe is the most important issue, on a commitment of all stakeholders which has to produce these results, and which will get some results also on the ground. Therefore, this is the difference between results orientation and results-based approaches. Well, that's quite an interesting question, which we also discussed in our working group, what results really means. When you have a very restrict idea of results in terms of impact, then it's really difficult to define from the donor perspective which kind of results can be achieved by which contributions from the donors. Therefore, we broadened up a little bit the term of results, and we decided that we will take into account the whole chain of outputs, outcomes, and results and impact. Outputs, outcomes are for us also results. And it depends a little bit on the institutional context how far we can go in our results orientation or in results-based approaches. It seems to be easier, I think, when it comes to education and to social sectors, because you can define at least the service to be delivered on the ground. But when it comes to consider a little bit the process, how to achieve these results, then it becomes also difficult. But where it's really complicated to define results is in the area of good governance. You can do this, for example, in the case of security programs. What will be the overarching results when you are working in the area of security? I think the overarching results could be that there is more trust between the population on the one hand and the police forces on the other hand. But to measure this is a quite difficult issue. Finally, it's a problem of collective action, it's a problem of social capital, it's a problem of organizational culture, and all these terms are more qualitatively ones and not so easily measurable in quantitative terms. Therefore, the issue of defining results in this area is much more a results framework instead of only one result which fits for all interventions in the area of good governance. And there are a lot of examples which confirm this position. Another example is in the area of public finance management. When it comes to improve internal resource mobilization, you can say maybe by increasing the tax rate you will get more internal resources, but this is not automatically true for all countries. Therefore, you must understand the institutional context, and maybe in one country it is easier to improve the tax administration and you will get more internal resources. In other country where the tax administration is functioning, maybe increase the taxes might be interesting, but then you have also to look what is the impact of the increases of taxes. Is there an impact for the poor population? Is there an impact for the people who can really pay taxes, and so on? Therefore, in the area of good governance, it's quite complicated to define results. But I think we should try at least to define some kind of results framework, because without this idea of results orientation, you can finance everything, and that's a little bit the problem in good governance areas. There are some limitations, I think, in this respect, because and this is also an experience which not only developing countries have, but also countries like the United States or Great Britain or Australia, which are applying results orientation in their internal public management. It depends a little bit also on the possibility to foresee future development, and specifically in that area of climate change, it's quite difficult to foresee this. And this means that if you try to introduce a results orientation, you must always accompany this by applied research, because it's an iterative process. And maybe, therefore I'm always saying results is a moving target. Yeah? Maybe you have a focus on a specific result, and by trying to introduce it, you discover that there are other results, maybe much more important than the first one, which you had foreseen as an important issue. Therefore, this is always a process of reflection, iteration, trial and in order to understand what can be done in short and medium term. And when it comes to long-term issues, it cannot be resolved only by results orientation.